at 69. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, seized no fewer than 286 assets and 600 bank accounts between January 2021 and August 2022, with 249 of the assets being exotic vehicles, with 37 properties representing the remaining assets. A total of 871.53 million naira worth of illegal drug funds were also seized within the same period. According to Femi Babafemi, the Director of Media and Advocacy at the NDLEA, a total of 18,940 suspected drug traffickers, including 12 barons, were arrested between January 2021 and July 2022, while the conviction of 2,904 offenders were also secured in the process. He further stated that the agency had cancelled, treated, and rehabilitated 12,326 drug-dependent people, while an ultra-modern drug abuse call center had been commissioned to cater for the need of those suffering from drug use disorder. An Abuja businesswoman, Onyinye Nwoke, has been arrested by officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for growing cannabis in her backyard. The arrest of the 38-year-old Nwoke followed an intelligence raid at her residence, House 56, Aldenko Estate, Galadimoa, where operatives uprooted fresh stems of cannabis plants grown at the backyard of the house. According to the Director of Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, the operatives uprooted plants weighing 18.4 kilograms, while 800 grams of cannabis seeds were also recovered from the house. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has again made significant breakthrough in its sustained war against drug trafficking. Consequently, a 53-year-old physically challenged Ehiarivwe Osaromo Emmanuel has been arrested by the NDLEA operatives at the departure hall of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, on his way to Italy via Doha on a Qatar Airways flight. He was found to have concealed 5,000 tablets of tramadol, 225 milligrams in his luggage. Preliminary investigation reveals that the suspect is a frequent traveler who often travels with lots of bags containing mainly food items, body cream, hair attachment, and drinks. In a related development, the agency's effort to demobilize and dismantle all organized criminal groups behind the production and distribution of crystal methamphetamine across the country led to the raiding of a suspected clandestine laboratory at Opik Estate, Agbara, Lagos. Clues from the property led operatives to another property in the vicinity where one Peter James was apprehended with some quantity of the substance. A follow-up operation within the estate also led to the arrest of a meth dealer, Matthew Bobby Imonishe, who was caught with 4.033 kilograms of the illicit substance. A raid at a rented apartment in Raji Rasaki First Estate in Festac Town, Lagos, led to the seizure of 412,780 tablets of tramadol and the arrest of one of the suspects involved, Kingsley Duru. Further seizures and arrests were equally recorded in Niger, Sokoto, and Gombe state commands, while 8 suspected bandits terrorizing farmers in Ondo State were intercepted by NDLEA operatives combing the Ala Forest in Akure North local government area on the 2nd of September with assorted arms and ammunition and a large quantity of cannabis sativa recovered from them. The Chairman Chief Executive of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Maira, retired, has since commended officers and men of the FCT MMIA Lagos, Niger, Sokoto, Ondo, and Gombe state commands for the arrests and seizures. President Muhammadu Buhari celebrates with Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa retired on his 69th birthday, September 9, 2022. President Buhari affirms the dynamic leadership roles the chairman of the NDLEA has played in shaping the history of the country as governor of Borno State and military administrator of Lagos State, leaving behind lasting legacies of investment in people and infrastructure that keep memories of his service fresh and commendable. The president hails the initiative and reforms that Marwa has instituted in NDLEA, born out of his passion for a purposeful, result-oriented and motivated agency that places the health and safety of the society first, particularly the youths and networks with other security outfits, home and abroad, to rid the country of drug traffickers. President Buhari recognizes the arduous task before the chairman and his team, believing the same patriotism and diligence that he has displayed over many years in the military and after retirement will continue to yield results. The president prays that the Almighty God will grant the chairman of the NDLEA more courage, strength, and wisdom as he serves the country.
The Chairman Chief Executive Officer of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, has restated the commitment of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to continue to partner with critical stakeholders in its quest to rid the nation of the drug scourge. Marwa made this submission while receiving a delegation of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, led by its president, Estate Valuer John Paul Amayobo, when they paid a courtesy visit on the management of the NDLEA. The NDLEA boss, who received the NIESV leadership alongside top officials of the agency, said the harmful effect of illicit drugs on the country is too humongous for the drug war to be left to the NDLEA alone. Hence the willingness of the anti-drug agency to work with all well-meaning individuals and organizations to enable it deliver on its core mandates.
We must all collaborate. We are all stakeholders in facing this challenge, and we will welcome at all your fora for you to manage to put in some advocacy against the use of drugs in Nigeria.
He further highlighted some of the successes recorded so far under his leadership. The NIESV president, in his remark, commended the NDLEA for the good work they're doing for the country as a whole. He equally pledged the support of his organization to the anti-drug war. He was later decorated as WADA ambassador by the NDLEA boss.
Yes, it's true. Drugs are a vice in our society, costing lives and huge economic losses. But the story is not the same because the game has changed. It's a red card for drugs in Nigeria. There is a new sheriff in town. Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa is moving hard and fast with full speed and precision to rid the country of the drug scourge. NDLEA Today is a program that gives you a front seat in understanding the highs and lows, the laws of drug enforcement in the country. Join us every Monday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, Africa's largest TV network. NDLEA Today. Don't miss it.
The Directorate of Training and Manpower Development is saddled with the key responsibilities of raising officers and men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) to the required level for the Herculean task of ridding the country of the drug scourge. Aside the basic training usually conducted for officers and men of the agency at the point of entry into the organization, continuous training and retraining has been part of the modus operandi of the NDLEA in order for it to keep up with the global standard practices.
A lot of people often ask, how do people do this? How do you know, that this person is carrying drug and this person is not carrying drug? What magic? Most of it is training. Most of it is by training. But you can discern that this person probably and this person probably not. This bag probably not. It is the training that gives you those skills.
Apart from the running of the NDLEA training school in Jos, which is quite pivotal to the success of the agency's mandate, the agency, through its training directorate, had also put in place multiple trainings in collaboration with sister agencies and development partners. Critical areas like intelligence gathering, drug demand reduction, and drug supply reduction activities are being impacted by these training programs. Specialized trainings both at home and abroad, in line with the new thinking in the agency, are equally spearheaded by the directorate.
We have specialized trainings in all these areas. And a lot of it's with the help of our international collaborators, and even we ourselves, we have, because we have who have master trainers who have extensive training, to deliver some of this professional training.
Indeed, the activities of both the training and manpower development components of the directorate have equally received more impetus under the Marwa-led administration due to his collaboration efforts with critical stakeholders.
When Marwa came on board, officers were motivated to do the work because he came, he showed empathy, he showed leadership, he showed directional leadership, and the fact that, where we work with you. So even if you still didn't have what you needed, but the fact that there's a leadership that says we'll work with you, gave the officers, it was like a reorientation, a renaissance somewhat.
Drug addiction, which is a major scourge ravaging many individuals, is usually attributed to multiple factors that include peer pressure, curiosity, conflicts in the family, and availability of prescribed drugs across the counter. The harmful effects of this deadly phenomenon have ruined many lives, while many others have been sent to early graves. For Agi Uwem, her journey through the valley of death presented a valuable lesson to everyone on the need to avoid experimenting with all forms of mind-altering substances.
2011, I had a ectopic pregnancy, so I booked myself into an hospital for surgery. When I got there, a colleague of mine, a registered nurse, so a colleague of mine told me that there is a certain drug the doctor is supposed to prescribe after every 4 hours, but it's going to be prescribing it after every 8 hours. So she advised that I get mine. So at that interval that I will need it, I will just take my own shots. So that's how it started. It got to a point where I didn't care about my health. I woke up miserable every day. I saw the frustration on my husband's and my family. I also got to a point where I wasn't scared of dying, but death didn't come. So I knew it's either I get help or I'll just remain that way. So I decided that I'll try and get help.
For her, more restriction should also be on prescription drugs in order to safeguard the larger populace from accessing such from across the counter, since such practice could help further fuel addiction.
So what I would advise youth is don't even try. Don't test it. Do not keep addicts friend, because now they have a way of involving you even without your consent. Yeah, stay away from where drugs is being used. Be committed to your goals in life. That will help you, because if you have any goal in life and you get involved in drugs, you will lose everything.
As we usually admonish weekly on Risking It All segment, involvement in drug abuse could lead to losing everything you ever worked for: your life, your career, your family, and indeed everything you ever worked for. So be wise and stay off drugs.
Don't do drugs. Don't try it, though. He go choke you up. When you start it to stop, it go easy. As you dey drag am go, he dey drag you down. What I come up from my eye, oh, when I remember the guys, oh, many of them kitchen bucket, oh, from cartoons bucket, oh, make me no forget, oh, project Taquitos. You see body, oh, don't push your busy body. You did not go sad, oh. Me tell somebody, hey, you see body, oh, the body, oh, the body, oh.
This message is brought to you by National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.
The Ogun State Command has paid a wider advocacy visit to the First Lady of Ogun State, Mrs. Ndlea, the Zone C and the Kebbi State Commands of the NDLEA paid wider advocacy visit to the Emir of Gwandu and the Chairman of Kebbi State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Muhammadu Ilyasu Bashar. The Benue State Command of the NDLEA has delivered a water sensitization lecture at Izala Central Mosque, Wadata Makurdi.
Do you know? Do you know that early intervention for addiction is more effective than waiting for that rock bottom moment? If you're addicted to drinks or drugs yourself, it is much more prudent to take action once you've identified the warning signs and admitted that you have a problem. Don't keep pushing it until your hand is forced. When you're trying to help an addict in the family, the same applies. If you can edge your loved one into treatment of their own volition, the earlier you do so, the better. Do you know that the belief that it can hurt to try a drug just once is a misconception? Some health effects of substance abuse take time to develop, but others can appear the very first time you dabble in drug use. Fatal overdoses can occur to people who have never before used the substance. Even if the drug itself doesn't harm you, it can affect your decision-making process and your common sense. You might do something you regret while under the influence.
Johnson Abraham Dillis wrote, "Is caffeine bad for pregnant women? What then will you advise such women to use instead?" Here's your answer. Consuming large amounts of caffeine during pregnancy may increase the risk of miscarriage or low birth weight. So, it's best to limit your intake of caffeine. However, consuming up to 200 milligrams a day is safe for your baby. But once you've hit your caffeine limits, consider a caffeine-free tea such as chamomile, ginger, or rooibos to keep your morning ritual intact. The next is from Abubakar Salihu. He wrote from Okene, Kogi State. Is it true that caffeine stimulants can help you focus at school or work? Here is your answer. Some people take uppers from prescription drugs like amphetamines to illegal drugs like methamphetamine, thinking they'll earn higher grades or do better on the job. In reality, the opposite is usually true. The initial rush of exhilaration and energy these drugs sometimes provide quickly turns into paranoia, hostility, panic, and the desire to harm yourself or others. Remember, we're always here to provide answers to your questions, so please keep them coming. The channels remain Ndlea Today at ndlea.gov.ng or ndleatoday@gmail.com. That's our program for this week. Join us same time next week for a refreshing episode of Ndlea Today. It's bye for now.